Hi, my name is Tom Fitz. I am a software architect for the TRIRIGA platform development team. Today, we will be discussing the enhanced report renderer being introduced into TRIRIGA application platform 3.6.1. This session will focus on the runtime aspects of the enhanced report renderer. This session's agenda for the enhanced report renderer will include a brief overview, supported report display types, supported report display containers, supported browsers, rendering layout, and enhanced grid features. We will also cover report renderer accessibility. We will cover some known limitations, and I will provide some reference materials. Enhanced report renderer. The enhanced report renderer introduced in TRIRIGA application platform 3.6.1 brings a modern web uplift to the way reports and queries are displayed in TRIRIGA. This technical enablement session will cover aspects of the enhanced report renderer, including enhanced features, layout, supported areas of the platform, and more. Supported report display types. The enhanced report renderer will be supported for report and query display types. What is not supported are editable queries, hierarchy queries, metric queries, summary queries, and in general, any non-report and query display types. The same report renderer as the previous release will display for non-supported display types. Additionally, no additional upgrade steps are necessary for the enhanced report renderer to be enabled. It will display automatically for the supported display types once TRIRIGA is upgraded to platform 3.6.1. Supported report display containers. The enhanced report renderer will display for the previously mentioned supported report display types in all containers where the report renderer has displayed in prior releases. This includes form query sections, form builder query sections, section action pop-up dialogues, such as the find action, locator field pop-up dialogues, navigation landing pages, portal sections in advanced view mode, or portal sections that are maximized or displayed in a new window. Queries run directly from Report Manager are also supported. What is not supported is portal sections that are not set up for advanced view mode, that are not being displayed in a new window and are not maximized. Those will continue to display as they were in the previous release. Supported browsers. The enhanced report renderer will be supported on the following browsers: Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Microsoft Edge. Internet Explorer is not supported. For Internet Explorer, the non-enhanced report renderer will be used. Rendering layout. With the enhanced renderer, you will notice a few items with regards to layout. Query headers are frozen. Pagination has been moved to the footer of the query results. This new pagination bar is frozen, so it will always display during vertical scrolling. The checkbox and radio button column on the left side of the query results is frozen. It will always display during horizontal scrolling. You will also notice the Export to Excel button has been changed to a download icon, and it will display in the same bar as the refresh button. A toggle icon replaces links for the show more and less filters, and then a blue link style is the default for query actions. Query actions on navigation landing pages will still appear as buttons as they have in previous releases. And there is now an image placeholder for blank images, where on prior releases, if there were no images, the field would appear blank. The related report dropdown will now always display the title of the current report, On prior releases, it displayed the word selected with the report title to the right of the dropdown. This has been moved to the same bar as the refresh button. One thing to note here, if the renderer width becomes too small, it will be stacked above the refresh bar. The report title and date time, where applicable, will now display in the same bar as the refresh button. And much like the report renderer dropdown, if the report width becomes too small, it will be stacked above the refresh bar. Enhanced grid features. Enhanced grid features include movable columns, pinning columns, and expanding column widths, all in real time while viewing the report. Now I'm going to give a demo of the enhanced report renderer. So let's log into TRIRIGA. And one of the first things I want to show is a report design. So let's just open up a report, and I just want to briefly discuss the report types that are supported, which I mentioned earlier in the presentation. So for the report types that will be supported with the new enhanced renderer, it will be query and report. The other report types, graphic, summary, chart, external, reserve, legacy, reserve, hierarchy, and metric, are not impacted, and they will continue to render as they always have. So only query and report type are supported with the new enhanced renderer. And then in the options tab, editable queries, as I mentioned earlier, will not be supported. They will still show with as they have in previous releases. So only non-editable queries will show with the new enhanced report renderer. So let's close out of here, and let's run a report directly from Report Manager. So this is what the enhanced report renderer looks like, run directly from Report Manager. So a few things about the layout I mentioned previously. The report title and the date runtime are now on the same level as the refresh button. There's the new download to Excel button. This is right here. Let's click it, and this is the download to Excel icon. It's no longer a button. And when you click it, the report will download to Excel as it has in previous releases. The pagination bar has moved to the bottom of the report, and this is a frozen bar, so on vertical scrolling, the bar remains intact. It has all the same functionality as it has in prior releases. You can increase or decrease the result size, and you can navigate through the pages. As mentioned, the query actions are no longer now have a default blue link style to them, and this is both on the header and the footer of the report. And some of the new grid features I will demonstrate now, where you can expand and minimize columns. You can move columns around. When I say expand and minimize columns, I'm referring to the column width. So making this column longer, shorter. The checkbox column on the left-hand side is now frozen, so if I do horizontal scrolling, that checkbox column will always remain intact. And you can also pin columns. So if you grab a hold of a column, you can move it just to the left of the checkbox, and now this column is pinned. You could pin one or more columns if you want. So on horizontal scrolling, those pinned columns will remain intact. So one thing to note about these new grid features, these are not saved to user preferences. So if I cancel out of the report and run the report again, the original design of the report display, the report will go back to the original design display. without any of the prior changes you made to the column appearance, size, and pinning columns. So let's close out of here. And let's show a few more examples of the different container types. So let's navigate to the buildings landing page. You will notice landing pages here are now with the new renderer. One thing to point out here is the related report dropdown I mentioned previously. It now contains the title of the report, and it's on the same row as the refresh button. So this is the related report, and it'll always display the title of the current report. So let's go ahead and drill into a building. Now, note this is my demo test and development environment, so a lot of this data is stuff I've created for testing and development purposes as well as demo purposes. So it's not real shipping data, but it will still give you the general idea of the look and feel of the new renderer, the new report renderer. So let's scroll down to, we're on a building record, let's scroll down to the restrictions query section. So let's click the Find Section Action. So all the section actions will behave exactly as previously on previous releases. So when I click the Find Section Action, now the pop-up dialog will be in the new Enhanced Report Renderer. And this too will have the same enhanced grid features. So let's go ahead and select multiple checkboxes from here. And let's hit OK. So now our query section is populated. And once again, it's the same report renderer as we've been demoing. The pagination is on the bottom. All the same features are supported. We can expand the column. Oh, let's add some more records. There we go. So now, vertical scrolling will not cause the pagination footer to move. The checkbox column is frozen, so if any horizontal scrolling, the checkbox column will remain. And this is what the report renderer looks like with the new query section. In the query section, let's go take a look at other query sections. Let's exit out of here. And let's navigate to space record. Okay, let's enter a space. Allocation has a good example of side-by-side query sections displaying the new report renderer. So let's add a few values here. So this is an example of what the new report renderer looks like with side-by-side queries. And as mentioned previously, any of the query section actions will operate as they have in prior releases. So for instance here, I just removed a few records from this query section. Okay, let's exit out of here. I've showed a few examples of the multi-select find action pop-ups. How about let's take a look at a single select find action pop-up. And there's one in capital projects. A good one demo is the primary location find action. This will be a single select, meaning it's a radio button. A few things to point out on this particular query is that there's the image placeholder, which I mentioned previously. On prior releases, if there was no image, the image field here would be blank in the report renderer. Now we have a light gray image placeholder icon if there's no image. And also the toggle for show more, show less filters will be all the way on the right, and it's this toggle icon. So when you click it, more filters will show or less filters will show, depending on your preference on whether you want to see more or less filters. So let's go ahead and select the single select radio button and click OK. And so that's an example of the single select find action pop-up. Let's go take a look at a locator field. Locator, under the Budgets tab, the updated by field here. And click the magnifying glass here, and this is an example of a locator pop-up. We select a value and hit OK. And that's what the locator pop-up looks like with the new report renderer. And with the radio button too, one thing to point out here is that column is still frozen. So if I do a horizontal scroll, the radio button column will stay intact. And all the same grid features I've demoed earlier are supported. So let's close out of here and let's quickly talk about portal sections. So as I mentioned earlier, the advanced view mode portal sections, only portal sections that are defined with advanced view mode will show with the new renderer. So for instance, this portal, this all capital projects portal section, this will still show with the same renderer it has in previous releases. That's because this portal section is not defined with the advanced view mode setting. But that said, if I maximize this portal section, it will show with the new renderer. Or if I open the portal section in a new window, it will also display with the new report renderer. So what I mean by advanced view mode on portal sections is it's actually in the portal section design. So if you go in the portal builder, and we can just select any portal here, and I'll pretend to add one. So if your portal section is type report, the max record display field by default is 10. You can make it whatever you want, but this little note here says if you set it to 100, it turns into the advanced view mode at runtime. So this is a feature that's been around for a few releases. So if I were to set this field to 100, then this portal section would show with the enhanced report renderer. Okay, let's quickly show form builder, because those two, the query sections on form builders will now also show with the new renderer. So let's just open up try building in form builder, and then if we scroll down to like the restrictions query section here, you can see this also is the new renderer. So form builder will display these queries with the new renderer. Let's close out of here and let's Let's quickly discuss landing pages again. So let's go into a navigation item landing page. And as mentioned, these are also with the new enhanced report renderer. One thing to note with the landing pages is these buttons up here will be the same button. These query actions will be displayed with the same button style as they were in previous releases, whereas other examples I've shown you in this demo, the non-navigation item landing pages, those all have that default blue link style for the query actions. But on navigation items, due to the container type, those will remain in the old button format. So that concludes the demo I wanted to show you. Let's talk about report render accessibility. Accessibility mode. So for Platform 3.6.1, accessibility mode needs to be turned on in a user's profile to maintain the same level of accessibility support as the 3.6.0.x release with regards to the report renderer. This can be done on the My Profile record, selecting the My Profile tab and selecting the Enable Accessibility Mode checkbox. It can also be done on a people record, such as an employee record, selecting the Profile tab and selecting the Enable Accessibility Mode checkbox. With this turned on, the non-enhanced report renderer will be displayed for that user. And this is a screenshot of the Enable Accessibility Mode checkbox on one of those user profile records. Additional information. So there are a few known limitations. Internet Explorer will display with the non-enhanced report renderer. Another limitation is if the cell value text exceeds the column width, there will be no text wrapping as it does on prior releases. To see full text, users can hover over the grid cell to see the text tooltip, or users can expand the column width size. There's also no processing wheel that is displayed when the refresh button is clicked. This can sometimes have the effect that nothing happened even though a refresh did actually occur. And then the state of the real-time grid display changes, such as expanding row widths, rearranging columns, and pinning columns, will not save to user preferences. The grid will go back to its original state the next time the report is run, and I did demo this earlier on in the presentation. So reference materials, the Platform 3.6.1 release notes are a good source for information on the new features in the enhanced report renderer. Additionally, the enhanced report renderer technical enablement session for customizations and styles will provide additional information not covered in this session. This concludes the presentation. Thank you.